Hey guys, welcome back to another video tutorial. Today we're going to look at direct proportion again, but this time we're going to look at quadratics and cubics. So what do I mean? Well, first of all, so far what we've seen is that when we've got two quantities that are directly proportional, we can say that, let's say we're comparing the height and the weight, and we knew that they were proportional, so that's the sign for proportional. What I want to do is write down the formula, and the way we did write the formula was h is equal to k, which is a constant, times w, and our job was to find k. Now, if you're not too sure what I'm talking about, you can go back to one of my lessons on direct proportion and check that out. Now, today we're going to concentrate on quadratics and cubics. So let's say, for instance, you had something like, say, y is directly proportional to the square of x. It is a typical question that I've seen on the GCSE exam. So here it says y is directly proportional to the square of x. How do I write that using direct proportion? Well, the square of x means x squared really. So if I was to write an equation, I'll write it as y is equal to k times x squared. Okay, because we're talking about the square of x. It could have been the square of z, it could have been the square of w, the square of anything, as a matter of fact. But in this case, we've got the square of x, so we write it as y is equal to k times x squared. And just like I said in my previous video, the first thing you need to do is work out the value of k. And to do that, you need at least one value of y and one value of x for this example. So you're always going to be given some values that you can work with. So let's say y was equal to 49 and x was equal to, shall we say, 2. Then how would I work out what k is? Well, simple. I'm going to take those numbers and I'm going to substitute them into my equation. So wherever I see a y, I'm going to replace it with a 49. Wherever I see a x, I'm going to replace it with a 2. So instead of writing the y, I'm going to write 49 is equal to k times, and instead of writing the x, I'm going to write the 2. So 2 squared. 49 stays the same, 2 squared becomes 4, so I end up with 49 is equal to k times 4. Alright, and now my job is to find what k is by itself, and to do that I'm going to divide by 4. And the reason why I'm doing this is because here I've got times 4, and to get rid of the times 4 I perform the opposite operation, which is divide by 4. So I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. And if I do that, so let's divide by 4 here and divide by 4 here, I end up with the 4 cancelling out on that side, and I'm left with 49 divided by 4. So I'm going to go ahead and take a calculator here, and 49 divided by 4 is equal to 12.25. So therefore k is equal to 12.25. And finally, I'm going to write down my equation. So let's move on to a new page. So my equation, final answer, the final answer is y is equal to 12.25 times x squared. And there you go, you've got your answer. Alright, now like I said to you in my previous lesson, once you've got the equation that you're looking for, you can use that to make a prediction. So let's say I want you to figure out what y is equal to when x is equal to 5, or let's make it easy number 3. So x is equal to 3, what is y equal to? So in this case, I'm going to replace the x with a 3 in my equation, and then I'm going to multiply by 2.25 without forgetting to square that number, and then it's going to give me the value of y. So I'm going to say y is equal to 12.25 times x squared, and we know x is equal to 3 here, so I'm going to do a 3, and then I'm going to square it, and that gives me 12.25 times 9. And to do that, 12.25 times 9 gives me 110.25, and there's my answer. Let's say now, instead of working out y, I wanted to work out what x is. So how do I go about doing that? Again, the question will give you some sort of value that you can work with. So let's say in this case we had y is equal to, let me give you an easy number, 49 times 2, let's make it y is equal to 98. Okay, figure out what x is equal to. Again, I'm going to take the value of 98 for y and I'm going to sub into my equation, so I end up with 98 is equal to 12.25 times x squared. So now to work out what x squared is, the first thing I'm going to have to do is divide both sides by 12.25, because here I've got times by 12.25 and I'm trying to figure out x on its own. So my first step is to get rid of the 12.25. So I'm going to divide both sides by 12.25, and if I do that, so I divide by 12.25 and divide that side by 12.25, so that will cancel out the 12.25 on that side, and here 98 divided by 12.25 gives me 8. So that gives me 8 is equal to x squared. And now finally what you need to do is figure out what x is equal to, and to do that you have to take the square root of 8, because I need to get rid of the squared, and the opposite operation is taking the square root. So I'm going to take the square root and the square root here, and this leaves me with x is equal to square root of 8, and again I'm going to use my calculator. Square root of 8 is equal to 2.8, or as the calculator says, 2 root 2, and you can write whichever one you like. I'm going to go ahead and write it as a decimal to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to write it as 2.83, so 2.83, and there's your answer. Okay, now let's move on to another one where we use a cubic, and I'm going to go very quickly on that one. So let's say y is proportional to x cubed. So again, you're going to make up an equation, so you can say y is equal to k times x cubed, and let's say y was equal to 10 and x was equal to 4, then we would say 10 is equal to k times 4 cubed. So that gives me 10 is equal to k times 4 cubed is equal to 64. 4 times 4 times 4, just double check, is 64. Alright, so therefore k is equal to 10 divided by 64, and 10 divided by 64 gives me 0.1565. Whoa, didn't choose my numbers properly, but there you go. So that gives me 0.1565. So should we just say 0.1516 to 2 decimal places? Okay. So finally I can write down my answer as y is equal to 0.16 times x cubed. So there's your answer. Now you can use the answer to make prediction, but I'm not gonna go and do that. What I want you to do is just try it out yourself. So try to figure out how much would y be equal to if x was equal to, let's say, 10, and try to figure out what x would be equal to if y was equal to, let's say, 20. Okay, try this out, and if you can come up with the answer, just write it down in the comment box and I'll just check it for you. Well, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you soon in another video tutorial. Alright, take care guys, bye.